particular your own account. And now you have the opportunity to use your money as you need to build more wealth, right? Not just to buy crazy stuff, but to build more wealth.
So
I love it.
And then you pay yourself back at a percentage, with whatever percent you set up as the holding company. And you're able to pay yourself back. And I mean, for me, having now been out of the government and I'm not, of age yet where they won't tax me crazy. It is, and also having a lot of money in my thrift savings plan because I started super early. That was something that I learned just recently.
Sure.
And I am excited about taking advantage of that and moving it forward because you're still building, getting interest, and you're still building on that money. However, now it's available to you without penalty, except the penalty you impose on yourself. And we do want to be more in control of our resources.
Sure.
Especially now.
So, Wyvetra, let me ask you, because that's a great strategy. And just for simple-minded folk like me, so if I had $10 in my thrift savings and I have an LLC, so in essence, what you're saying is move perhaps $5 of that 10 into your LLC as the holding company, or what do you recommend?
No,
see, I would have got it all wrong, and I'd have been wearing orange.
So I was.
and orange don't look good on black.
Don't move it.
It'll be $3 by the time you finish getting tax.
That's right.
Do it that way.
Don't move it into your LLC.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was trying to do different levels. Wyvetra is stepping on the gas here because I wanted to do the very basic of where we can go from ground zero.
Sure.
And now we can talk about even like your caller said that he has a thrift saving plan that he started early.
Sure.
Now, for those of you that have resources, then this is where your segment comes in. I do want to first qualify by saying we've got to get into the mindset that you've got to earn before you spend.
Okay.
You've got to have the money. It's all right to buy that boat and car and go on that trip, but have the money first.
Right.
Don't spend and then try to figure out how to pay for it.
Right.
And again, that's about the mindset. If you have the money first and then go and spend it, your life is so much easier. So again, at the helicopter view for those that are on the line at the next level, there are multiple strategies that real estate investors are taught to use and move money because of the type of industry that we're in. We're buying $400,000, $500,000, $900,000 properties. You don't always want to borrow that money from somebody else. And so the more you can borrow from yourself, as I shared in the first part, the better it is. So a couple of things that Wyvetra brought up, but the thrift savings is the first one. Paying your children and opening C corps we'll get into if we have time. But let me simply put it this way: if you have your own LLC, that's an active LLC, which means it's bringing in income, then you can use that LLC to open up what is called a Q Queen R Robert P Paul. It's a qualified retirement plan, QRP. It typically is a 401k that is tied into your LLC that you set up. That is the mechanism that you use to transfer your current thrift savings, 459, 401, self-directed IRA. That is the mechanism that you transfer into, because under the QRP that is set up under your LLC, and it's important that you understand this is an LLC or C Corp that you own.
Sure.
That sets up its qualified retirement plan.
Sure.
When you roll the money into that, you now have designated yourself, when you set the plan up, as the trustee of that plan. As a trustee of that plan, you are the decision maker. And so you are the trustee and you are the beneficiary of your own QRP. Again, it has to be an active business that's bringing in income. And so when you have that, all of these other thrift saving plans and 401s and 459s that are controlled by other people, you roll that money into your plan so that you now have control over it. And again, if you want to take that money and buy stocks, you can buy stocks. If you want to buy that Airbnb, you can buy that Airbnb because QRPs are eligible to buy real estate under the IRS guidelines. But it is still a retirement plan. So you can't go into it, just because. You do have to have, even though you're the trustee, you do have to have documentation for loans. You can give out what they call hard money loans. You can loan yourself money up to a certain percentage, and but you have to pay yourself back. Sure. But again, it's your plan, and the stipulation is that you take the average daily interest rate on the market and add that into, so it doesn't matter what your credit is because you're the trustee. You just make the interest rate on that loan equal to where the market is. Sure. And again, that's building wealth into your retirement plan. What I've done with my retirement plan is the one that buys tax liens. And so every time I buy a tax lien, that I don't typically go after the house in the tax lien. I go after the lien. When you buy a tax lien, these are liens, not trying to, blow everybody's mind, but these are liens that the government puts on a property when people have failed to pay their taxes on time. They allow investors to pay that lien, and then when you pay, you get that late fee assessed. That late fee goes to the investor as interest. And so what I do is I buy tax liens with my retirement account. When the lien is paid, I get the lien amount back, and I get the interest rate. Now, let me give you an example. I bought a tax lien for $500 in the state of Maryland a year ago in 2019. I paid for the lien with $500, put it into my retirement. The person just paid their 2019 taxes 2 weeks ago. So I got the $500 back, and I got $100 interest on top. So I've made $100 in one year just on this tax lien. That's a better rate than any CD or money market fund that I know of. Sure.
Now I have a question for you. Got a question here that says, with the thrift savings plan money, you're taxed at a rate of about 35% when you withdraw it. So do you still suffer that withdrawal penalty if you're trying to make the move that you just described to our listeners?
Not if you do it the way I explained it. If you do it the way I explained it and you roll it into a quote unquote qualified retirement plan, okay, it is rolled over without penalty because it is still under the IRS guidelines as a retirement. Okay. Now, if you're only subject to the tax if you pull it out, if you pull it out without borrowing against it, if you just take it because you need it, right? Then you're subject to the penalties that occurred. Gotcha. If you're under the age, if you're under the 65 or 70, depending on what plan you have. Sure. But to answer your question, no. If you roll it into the qualified retirement plan that is attached to your active business, whether it's an LLC, C Corp, or S Corp, then you will not be taxed because it is a qualified rollover.
Wow. One more question: Is there a limit to? Is there a limit to how many times you can? Hold on. Sorry. Is there a limit to what you can take out?
So if you're talking about borrowing against your retirement plan, then yes, it depends on the plan. It depends on they just changed the rules with COVID where you could borrow up to $100,000 or 100% of your retirement plan as long as you paid it back within 3 to 5 years. That is typically the interest rate is not the interest rate. Typically the loan rate is a percentage of your plan. You can't borrow more than a certain percentage of your plan if you're just borrowing.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. Well,
Vyvetra, you were trying to say something.
But with that, you have so if you have a thrift savings plan, you have two ways to borrow, right? Mm-hmm. You can borrow for general purposes, or you can borrow for like a house if you're buying a house, right? So, but you can only do that once. You can only have one of each type taken out at the same time.
Okay.
And you have to pay those all the way back before you can borrow again. In this case, you have the opportunity to borrow. You decide on the categories that for which you can borrow, and the terms for which you pay it back, under the guidelines that are there, but you give yourself more flexibility. You're in control of your money, and you're in control of how you make those payments, how you pay yourself, how you borrow from yourself, because you are the owner and the trustee of your own retirement account now. How amazing is that? Like, seriously, awesome. Like, I didn't even know that was possible until recently.
Right. And I want to make it 100% clear that we are talking about two different plans. We're talking about a plan that somebody else owns, and we're talking about a plan that you own.
That you own.
So the plan that you own, the QRP, is where we are talking about you need to be, because you are in control of your assets. You're in control of the decisions that are being made. You are in control of how it is dispersed under the guidelines of the government, obviously, but you're still in more control than even a self-directed IRA, because even with a self-directed IRA, you still have to go through a third party to accommodate your wishes. And sometimes that delay is enough for you to lose out on the deal, especially if we're talking real estate.
Wow.
Real quick, I guess it might be our last question. Semi Surreal wants to know, is it smart to borrow against your retirement to pay off your car, to purchase a new home?
That's an individual choice. And Wyvetra, I know, for the housing,
I am always about, if you're going to borrow against yourself, to put it towards an asset that's going to make you money.
Sure.
Okay.
Versus your house, not a car.
So by paying off your car while you increase your daily cash flow, what are you going to do with that cash flow once you do that? Sure. Your monthly cash flow, are you going to put it somewhere, or are you going to just buy a new car?
Right.
Or buy something else to fill up that $400 that you've paid $6,000 to pay it off, and you have $400 that you're saving per month as a result. How much of that? How long is it going to take you to get back to that $6,000 that you've taken out of your account? If you purchase a home, literally, the houses right now, at the way they're appreciating, you can gain in a year $20,000 or $40,000 in equity on a house than when you first purchased it. So that home is going to make you money that you can then borrow from. And it's not going to reduce your liquid cash.
Sure.
To purchase, to pay off something that's just going to save you $400 a month that you may spend somewhere else. So you really have to just think about, like, what's that dollar amount? How much is it going to save me per month? And am I going to do something with that savings per month, or am I just going to blow it? Okay. And I can tell you that most people see, I got $400 extra. None of that is going into savings. So if you're more disciplined than me, then you definitely want to, because Beyonce just came out with her new line of clothes, and it's like calling my name. Oh my gosh, what the heck, man?
Say my name.
Okay. I do have some viewers requesting that you guys move to Vegas, so if that's an option.
That's right.
The tax rate in Vegas, let me tell you, the tax rate in Vegas is ridiculous. Matter of fact, the tax rate in Vegas is pushing people away from Vegas, especially investors. But look, let me talk real quick, because I know we're short on time, but let me talk real quick about employing your family members. So let me give you an example. There is I went to a seminar where one investor, through his LLC, was paying his 3-month-old baby. His 3-month-old baby. He created an LLC for the baby as a contract employee, and he attached a retirement plan to that LLC. Now, everybody on this call, and probably everybody that's viewing and listening, are trying to figure out how in the world and what kind of illegal standards. No, what he did was he hired his baby out as a employee motivation. And so when he brings the baby to the office, guess what happens to the environment at the office?
It motivates the office. They love the baby.
So for